Acquaintance is not understanding. Unless you feel it as an emergency, a deep crisis, you will not do anything. Unless religion becomes a very critical process for you, and you feel that unless something is done to transform you, your whole life is just wasted. If you feel this very keenly, deeply, and honestly, only then these things, these techniques will help you, because you can understand them. Understanding is of no use unless you do something about it. Understanding alone will not do unless you do something about it. Really, unless you do something about it, you have not understood them at all, because understanding must become your action. First comes acquaintance. Acquaintance can become understanding, and understanding must become your action. It is not becoming action. If it is not becoming action, then it is only acquaintance, not understanding. First comes acquaintance. Acquaintance becomes understanding, and understanding becomes your action. Try to understand this distinction. Acquaintance is not understanding. Acquaintance will not force you to any action. It will not force you to any change. It will not force you to do something about it. You will gather it in the mind. It will remain as information. You will become more knowledgeable, but at death, everything stops. You go on collecting many things, never doing anything about them, and they just become a burden for you. They just become a burden for you. Understanding means action. When you understand a thing or something, immediately you start wandering on. When you understand a thing, you immediately start working on it because it is right. Understanding makes it right. Because it is right and you feel it is right, you have to do something about it. Otherwise, everything remains borrowed, and borrowed knowledge cannot become understanding. You can forget that it is borrowed in times. You would like to forget that it is borrowed, because to feel that it is borrowed, means your ego is hurt. So you go on forgetting that it is borrowed. By and by you start feeling that it is your own, and this is very dangerous. I have heard an anecdote. The congregation at a church was very bored by the minister. A point came when the members of the church said directly to the minister, "Now you have to leave." It was about the congregation in a particular church. The minister who was giving the sermon was becoming bored, and a point came when the congregation had to tell the minister that you have to leave. The minister said, "Give me one more chance, only one chance, and if then you say so, I will leave." So the next Sunday, the whole town gathered in the church to see what the minister is going to do now, because that was the only chance given to him. They never suspected, they never imagined that such a beautiful sermon was going to be delivered on that day. They had never heard something like this. Surprised, delighted, the entire congregation enjoyed it, and when the sermon was finished, they gathered around the minister and said, "You need not leave. You remain here. We have never heard such a thing, such a beautiful sermon before. Never in our lives. Be here, remain here, and of course, with an increase your stipend." But then one man, who was very prominent member of the congregation, said, "Tell me one thing. Tell me one thing only. When you started your lecture, you raised your left hand with 2 fingers raised, and you closed your lecture with, and when you closed your lecture, you raised your right hand again with 2 fingers raised. So what is the meaning of this symbol?" So the prominent member of the congregation said, "Tell me one thing. When you started your lecture, you raised your left hand with 2 fingers raised, and when you closed the sermon, you raised your right hand with 2 fingers up." The minister said, "The meaning is easy. The fingers are symbolic of quotation marks. That sermon was not mine, it was borrowed. Always remember that question mark. It is very good to forget them. You feel good, but all that you know is within a question mark. It is not your own. and you can drop those quotation marks. It was the quotation marks, like see these two, left fingers raised and the right fingers raised. The techniques that I am about to explain, as mentioned by Shiva to Devi in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, can only be understood if you understand that acquaintance can never be understanding. Acquaintance can become understanding only when you start working on it. These techniques are to change acquaintance, to transform acquaintance into understanding, that which belongs to a Buddha or a Krishna or a Christ. Through these techniques can belong to you. If you work on these, if you practice what Buddha has said, it grows into you and is born out of you as your own. And unless it becomes your own, no truth is true. It was true for Buddha, it was true for Jesus, but when the seed, the words, enter into you, grow into your own fertile soil, then it is born out of you as your own solitary truth. Then what you have heard Buddha saying as truth becomes true for you. It may be a grand lie, a beautiful lie, but no truth is true unless it becomes your own experience. So when first comes acquaintance, acquaintance is transformed into understanding, and when you start working on understanding, something changes in you. It is like you have read a recipe. Unless you start working on it, practice a couple times, it will not become a part of you, and a possibility exists you can have your own tips and tricks into it because of your own experience, and you will transform this particular recipe for you, and then you do not have to remember it all the time. It will emerge as your own creation. It becomes true. You become an expert. You can make, using that recipe, you can create many alternatives. For instance, there is a particular dish that is used in Goa, and that is used for chicken vindaloo. You can use the same recipe and create a paneer vindaloo. You may have to make some changes because of the change in the ingredient, and then as you start working on it, you will be able to perfect this recipe, and it will become your signature dish. That's why there are certain restaurants where the dishes are the signature dishes of the master chefs. So this is, and unless it becomes your own, no truth is true. It may be a grand lie, a beautiful lie, but no truth is true unless it becomes your own experience. It emerges from deep within you, your individuality, authenticity, your own. Three things are there. First, always remember that your house is on fire. Unless you think your house is on fire, you will never be in a hurry. Second, do not listen to the devil. He will constantly say to you that there is no hurry. Everything that you are doing is right. And thirdly, remember, acquaintance is not understanding. First, when you realize that your house is on a fire, you have no choice, you have no time, you have to rush immediately to come out of this fire. Secondly, do not listen to the devil. He will constantly say to you, there is no hurry. Life is long, but life is this very moment. Never, it is now and here, not yonder in the woods or somewhere else. And thirdly, remember, acquaintance is not understanding. For acquaintance to become understanding, you have to follow a different route. You have to start working on that so that it grows within you. It is like a conception. Acquaintance comes like a conception. The fertilization happens when you start working on it. Then it is born out of your own being, out of your own self. In Zen, it is said that you learn something for 10 years and then forget about it for the same number of years. Then one day, it emerges from deep within you as your own growth. Now, it is your growth. It is your experience, your realization. And this is the way the process of transformation happens. Enough for now. Take care and do have a pleasant day. Until we meet again next week, Saturday. Take care.